Hey travelers, Mag here, coming at you from the far west side of Honshu Island, the main island of Japan. Over the next 2 days, we'll be finishing off the remaining prefectures we need across Honshu, excepting the prefecture containing Mount Fuji, which I'm shelving and saving for later. Today's plan is simple. I will be attacking Hyogo Prefecture here in Himeji, and I'll be doing it as a busy day. For those of you who don't know, a busy day in geocaching is when you find 6 different geocaches of 6 different icon types. We'll be chasing after a traditional, a Wherigo, a multi, a mystery, an Earthcache, and for the second half of this day, we'll be going up to the top of Mount Shosha, where there's going to be a letterbox waiting for us to polish this thing off. We have about 4 hours until the sun goes down, and I think that's going to be plenty of time to explore the castle and climb the mountain. So let's get out there and see what today has in store for us. Come on, let's go. A couple of the outliers near the castle that I need to complete this busy day bring me about half a mile away from the castle. Now I could attempt to drive that, and knock out that distance and get on top of those geocaches, but Himeji is just city enough that I think parking is going to be a pain. Plus, as we've already established, I like doing these things on foot, so we're just going to walk out that half mile or so and then circle in and see a new route the entire time on our way back around to the castle again.
Himeji has a history stretching all the way back to the Nara period in the year 700 AD. At the time, it was the provincial capital of Harima Kokobunji. Its location along the highway connecting western Japan made it an ideal location for the Tokugawa shogunate.
I'd say these pigeons are rather fearless. They don't seem to have any concern at all that I'm here. In fact, this one right next to me is walking up like he thinks I'm gonna feed him over here. I haven't even eaten myself yet today, although now that I think about it.
Unlike the clan that held this territory more than a millennium ago, the pigeons were not brave enough to withstand my assault. With the hopes of a free meal flying away, I continue my walk toward the first target of the day.
I am instantly rewarded for my choice to do this on foot because, as you can see, no vehicular traffic right here and no parking in the immediate vicinity, which means I get to do this trail on foot the way it was meant to be.
This park actually marks the furthest southwest boundary of Himeji Castle. At its peak, the castle grounds included several neighborhoods stretching through the inner, middle, and outer moats. While the outermost moat has been buried, the wall remains, marking the furthest out boundary of the neighborhood and forming the edge of this park.
This one is our mystery geocache for the day. And, ooh, I can see it back there. This is a legitimately good sized container right here. I like this. Now, this mystery cache is one where you have to do research, answer questions, and be able to learn a little bit about the history. This was very achievable for me. If any of you have seen me try and solve a puzzle before, you know I just blunder my way through. Usually when I find a puzzle, it's because I have a smart friend like Inextricable Fate with me. But this time around, I earned this mystery all by myself.
Himeji is a decent-sized city, consisting of a population of more than 500,000 people. During the Meiji Restoration, the city became the capital of Himeji Prefecture until it was merged into Hyogo Prefecture in 1876. It then became an official city in April of 1889.
And it looks like that covers our Where I Go Find. There's another icon down. Let's keep this party moving.
Between the questions I had to answer to solve the mystery cache and the stages I had to follow for the Wherigo, I have already gotten quite the history lesson here in Himeji. For me, it's the first-hand experience that really helps the knowledge to stick. Getting to see the historical places I'm learning about, up close and hands-on.
Earthcaches have always been a bit of a mixed bag for me. When I was on the road in the United States, I put a ton of them on the list, but primarily I put them based on location. Some of them I didn't even complete when the questions basically wanted me to submit a thesis paper. This Earthcache that I picked out today is perfect for me because it's going to bring me to 3 different statues, and so I'm going to get to see places I already want to see, and I'll make observations about the statues. Couldn't ask for anything better, especially because they don't want a thesis paper.
The Earthcache I am pursuing to complete my busy day here in Himeji begins on the southern edge of Otemaidori Street, which is the main road running between Himeji Station and the castle. The listing consists of 3 waypoints, each bringing me to a statue that requires a closer examination. Each statue is built from granite, an igneous rock characterized by its coarse-grained texture. While they all seem very similar at first, a closer inspection reveals that each of the 3 statues are actually built from a different type of granite. I use the colors as my guide to answer 3 questions about the mineral content of the quartz, feldspar, and mica found in each of the statues.
Once again, I am proven correct in leaving my car in the first place I parked, because like Osaka and Tokyo, there's pretty much nowhere to park where you're not going to be paying exorbitant rates. So having it in one place, I'm set.
I had started walking in pursuit of this Earthcache, only expecting to see the 3 statues listed at the waypoints. As you can see for yourself though, Otemai Street has a lot more to offer on each side of the road walking all the way up toward the castle. While I probably should have hurried along my way and only stuck to the targets identified by the Earthcache, I simply couldn't resist taking a closer look at each of these works of art. Several times I found myself zooming over the crosswalk to get a closer look at some of the works of art I saw just across the street. Otemai Street may be relatively short, but it has a lot to offer. And exploring it this way, you're sure to work up quite a thirst.
One of the things I love doing when I visit the convenience stores is purchasing drinks that I've never had before. And I'm actually kind of getting to the end of that list now because I've pretty much tried everything on the shelves. The one that I've come to like the best is this little number right here, the Fruit Salé from 7-Eleven. It is a nice, lightly sweetened beverage with fruit juice and a little bit of milky to it. So it's not a heavy-hitting flavor, but it's delicious all the same, refreshing, and I can actually feel pretty decently good about drinking it.
Sometimes it is a very fine line to walk between playing tourist and being an avid geocacher. I often struggle to find the right balancing point. Like this walk down Otemai Street, I've been known to follow a rabbit hole as far as I can. And on the flip side to that, particularly when the geocaches are very interesting, I've been known to ignore basically everything around me in pursuit of the next logbook. This time around, tourism clearly won out over geocaching, ensuring that I visited each of the statues and giving them the attention they deserved.
The bottom line here is this Earthcache delivered in spades. Not only did I get the 3 statues it promised me, but there's tons of statues to see all along this walk as well, which is a major bonus, and I'm so glad I was able to take this path.
Now, just outside the front entrance of the castle, I stop in to pay a visit at the Himeji Gokoku Shrine. It is dedicated in honor of the nearly 57,000 people of southwestern Hyogo Prefecture who gave their lives for the country during the Boshin War beginning in 1868. It saw its beginnings in 1893 when an annual memorial service began to be held in the gardens on these sites for those who had passed. The shrine followed decades later, dedicated in 1938.
Just look at that beautiful raking pattern across these rocks. Doesn't it just make your heart sing? No way am I stepping on that, sticking to the path all the way through.
Working on the next icon to complete my busy day, I began to head up toward Himeji Castle, which is actually the largest and most visited castle in the country, receiving nearly 1.5 million visitors every year. This is due both to its accessible location and being one of the best preserved castles in Japan. While the castle was designed as a fortification, it was fortunate that it never saw combat. This allowed it to survive through the years as one of Japan's 12 remaining original castles.
And here, coming up for our 4th find Himeji, we have a multi. That is 4 icons down. We actually haven't done a traditional yet. Thankfully, that's the easiest icon to find. And after that, it looks like we're heading up that mountain.
When viewed from the outside, it appears that there are only 5 floors in Himeji Castle, but this is an optical illusion, as there are actually 7 stories in this architectural masterpiece. Walking through the front gates, you can feel several centuries of history settling upon your shoulders approaching this castle that was first constructed in 1333. At that time, it was constructed as a fort and stood for a couple of decades before torn down and redesigned into a full-on castle. It has been expanded and fortified many times over the centuries, but unfortunately, this is as close as we're going to get today.
It looks like my timing did not work out well. This morning took about 4 hours longer than I thought it was supposed to before I started my day, so I never did actually look at the closing time for the castle. I thought it was 5, turns out it's 4. It's 4:05 right now, so I actually just barely missed my entrance time in favor of making sure I got my busy day icons. Oh well, I guess this is just another one that Miss Mag, the kids, and I are gonna have to come visit in the future. Darn.
Never one to miss an opportunity, I still take a little bit of time to explore the exterior castle grounds while I'm here. Slowly ascending to the top of the wall of the inner moat, I find a great spot to look out over the city of Himeji. Then seeing the sun low on the horizon, I'm reminded time is a bit of a factor.
Despite having missed my timing, and just barely, it's all right, because this certainly was not time wasted. My favorite part of checking out the castles is actually seeing them from the outside, and this one has a spectacular area view. Plus, we managed to work our way through the icons and get a nice tour of the downtown area. So I consider this a win. Now, let's go ahead and move over to that hiking trail and head up to the top of Mount Shosha.
The letterbox instructs me to begin on the Nenbizaka Trail, but the parking lot is closing as I arrive. I instead set out from the Katanadizaka Trail, where I encounter no such issue.
As I'm always saying, those best laid plans only survive the first round downrange. We have 40 minutes until official sunset time. Letterbox that we need is at the top of this mountain, about a mile up the trail. So it looks like I'm gonna be double timing it up on the mountain, so I still have daylight on my side. Looks like we gotta hurry. Let's do this.
There are a total of 6 trails leading up to the top of Mount Shosha, each conveniently enough with a geocache to mark the trailhead. It is widely thought that the Katanadizaka Trail is the easiest of these 6, which I found to be rather humorous. It is clearly only easy by comparison because it is actually a pretty tough trail. It is a steep elevation gain throughout, with many rocks and roots jutting out to trip you up. There are also several creek crossings which require extra care.
I know exactly where my plane went off course today. Thing is, there was just nothing I could do about it. I had some business to attend to in Osaka that came up after I made the plan. I looked at the timing, figured I'd be here in the early afternoon, and shifted everything a little bit later beyond that. Well, what was supposed to take me an hour in Osaka took 4. 4 hours well spent, by the way. But that's time that I lost on this plan where I would have been here at sunrise. Now instead, I get to enjoy the sunset.
For those brave enough to ascend one of the 6 trails up Mount Shosha, they will find the temple of Shoshajan and Goji waiting for them at the top. The temple at the top of the mountain was founded by Shoku Shonen in the year 966. The temple consists of more than a dozen buildings spread along the top of the mountain. And while I did get to tour the entire complex, with most of the buildings under tree cover, it was too dark to get any good shots. The Ngyoji 3 Halls, however, sits out in a clearing, allowing just enough light to reach through from the setting sun to end the day.
And there it is. As you can tell, it's gotten a little dark out here, but we were successful and found the last geocache we needed to complete our busy day. That is 6 icons, a traditional, a multi, a Wherigo, a letterbox, an Earthcache, and a mystery. And like any good letterbox container, this one contains a logbook and a stamp with an ink pad. So it is a fully accommodated letterbox up on this mountaintop. Mission accomplished for the day. Against all odds, and despite the terrible timing I had this morning, we still managed to complete our main objective here in Hyogo Prefecture, which was completing a busy day in Himeji. Now, this is actually only half my planned day. From here, I'm gonna head into Totori, and I'll be finishing my day there. I've got another 5 hours or so ahead of me to really finish off the night, but obviously, not gonna have daylight for that, and this was always planned to be the most scenic part of the day anyway. Thank you guys for joining me on this tour here in Himeji, putting a check in the box for Hyogo Prefecture. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates, and I'll see you out on the trails.